Welcome back for another deep dive. We've got some fascinating readings from the Seth material to unpack this time. Consciousness, reality, the whole shebang. Ready to get our minds bent a little.
Always up for a good mind bending. Seth really shakes things up, doesn't he? I mean, he questions how we perceive reality, like how much are we actually seeing versus what our senses are telling us.
We're talking limitations of the physical senses, right?
Yeah, it's almost like our senses are creating this distorted view, like a camouflage pattern obscuring the true nature of things.
So instead of seeing reality, we're seeing this filtered version.
It's kind of like, when you look at a table, you think it's solid, but actually it's made up of atoms with tons of space between them.
Right.
But our senses don't pick that up. So what we perceive is a simplification, not the full picture.
So then how do we get past those limitations, those camouflage patterns, as you call them? Does Seth have any suggestions for, like, perceiving this deeper reality?
Well, that's where the concept of psychological time comes in. Seth describes it as a deeper perception of time. It's more accurate than linear physical time.
Okay.
And it's a realm where, like, past, present, future, they coexist. The spacious present, he calls it.
So time isn't really flowing in a straight line. It's more like everything is happening at once.
Exactly. Our perception of time, it could be just another camouflage pattern.
Hmm.
And if we tap into this spacious present, we might understand causality and free will way differently, even the nature of reality itself.
All right, so if our physical senses are creating this kind of wonky view, how do we access that spacious present? Do we need, like, extrasensory perception?
Seth talks about inner senses,
Yeah.
6 of them, and they're like pathways to this unseen realm.
Okay.
They allow us to perceive the energy, the vitality that makes up physical matter.
So can our inner senses basically bypass the camouflage and tune into a different frequency of reality?
Think of it like this. Outer senses, they give you that practical, everyday view, like a roadmap, right? But our inner senses, they reveal the energy, the interconnectedness, like a satellite image showing those hidden relationships behind the scenes.
So it's not just passively receiving information. We're actually actively participating in this larger, more dynamic reality.
That's it. And it challenges that idea of individual separation. Like we're all part of this giant network of energy and consciousness.
Constantly influencing each other.
Exactly.
Huh. So that means conventional cause and effect theories don't really hold up, do they? Because they're based on this linear view of time that might not be the whole story.
Yeah, it suggests reality is way more complex and dynamic than we think.
I mean, that's a pretty big shift in perspective.
Right. Actions have ripple effects that we can't always see, and things we think are separate might actually be connected in that spacious present.
Okay, I'm starting to see why these readings are so challenging. They're making us rethink everything we thought we knew about how the world works.
And that's just the beginning. Seth introduces even more wild concepts like mental enzymes and solidified vitality, like the building blocks of reality itself.
Mental enzymes, solidified vitality, those sound intriguing. I'm definitely curious to dig into those and see how they fit into this picture of interconnected reality we're building.
Yeah, those concepts of mental enzymes and solidified vitality, they really blur the lines between like the physical and the non-physical. Think of solidified vitality as this fundamental energy, like the raw material for everything in the universe.
So mental enzymes would be what shapes that raw energy into the physical stuff we see and experience.
Exactly. Mental enzymes are, well, Seth says they're solidified feelings, and they act as this framework, like a blueprint, right? Giving structure to the solidified vitality so it can organize itself into matter.
Wow. So our feelings, our emotions are actually shaping the world around us. That's a powerful idea.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if that's true, what about the combined impact of everyone's emotions and beliefs? Like on a global scale, are we all shaping reality together?
This interconnectedness thing really makes you think, doesn't it?
Mm.
I mean, if we're all exchanging energy and shaping reality, where does one person's influence stop and another's start?
And that's where the spacious present becomes so important. If past, present, future are all happening at once, then cause and effect isn't so simple, right?
Right.
Our actions, thoughts, feelings, they all contribute to this web of influence that goes way beyond our normal understanding of time.
So instead of thinking about isolated actions and reactions, it's more like we're shaping this bigger interconnected reality, all woven together in this spacious present.
Exactly. And it can be humbling, but it can also be pretty liberating, don't you think? We're not just watching. We're participating in this dynamic, always evolving reality.
This reminds me of what Seth says about other planes of existence, like other dimensions existing alongside our own. Are we interacting with those realms too, through this exchange of energy?
That's a great question. And I mean, the readings you share don't explicitly say that, but the implication is there.
Mm.
If our consciousness isn't limited by our physical senses, like Seth says, then where does its influence end?
It's almost like we're multidimensional beings, experiencing and shaping reality on levels we're not even aware of.
That's a really interesting way to put it. And it goes back to what Seth says about developing our inner senses. Maybe those are the key to seeing a bigger picture of ourselves and our reality.
So if our inner senses can pick up on this deeper reality, why are our physical senses giving us such a different picture? What's the point of these camouflage patterns?
Seth suggests that this physical world, with all its limitations and challenges, actually serves a purpose.
Okay.
It gives us this structured environment so we can learn and grow, develop our consciousness through experience.
It's kind of like a training ground, a simulation to help us develop certain skills.
You could say that. By interacting with this world, with all its rules, we learn to be resourceful, we get creative, we understand ourselves and reality better.
And the limitations themselves, the camouflage, actually makes the learning process better.
It's like, think of a video game. The challenges, the obstacles, that's what makes it fun. Overcoming them, it feels good. You get to move on to more complex levels. And in a way, the limitations of our physical reality, they could be essential for our growth.
That's a really different way of looking at it. Instead of trying to escape these limitations, we can embrace them like they're part of the journey.
Exactly. And this journey, this exploration of consciousness and reality, it doesn't stop when our physical lives end. Seth says our existence goes beyond that. Death isn't an ending. It's just a transition to a different level of experience.
That opens up so many possibilities. So if consciousness keeps going after death, do we keep learning and growing in those other realms?
That's a question that's always fascinated people, and Seth's work offers some really interesting insights into that. We'll explore that more as we keep going.
I'm definitely ready for the next level of this deep dive. This conversation is already making me rethink so much about life, death, reality itself. What are some things our listeners should keep in mind as they keep exploring these concepts?
Well, first, remember your perception of reality is shaped by your senses, and those senses can be limited. So don't be afraid to question what you see and experience. Second, your thoughts and feelings, they have power. They can create things. So explore how you can use that power consciously to shape your reality, to make a difference in the world. And finally, remember you're part of something bigger. Embrace that interconnectedness and see how it can change your perspective and your life.
Those are some powerful reminders. And I know our listener will find them valuable as they continue to explore the Seth material and their own journey of self-discovery. I'm definitely ready to keep going with this exploration and dive into those next readings. So we've really been diving deep into the Seth material, limitations of our senses, interconnectedness, all of it. What's the biggest takeaway for our listener, do you think?
Honestly, it comes down to this. You are way more powerful than you think. You're not just along for the ride. You're actively creating your reality with your thoughts and feelings and everything you do.
So instead of being controlled by, outside forces, we can actually create the life we want.
That's what Seth is getting at. It's potential, right? But it's also a challenge. We have to be more aware of our inner world, to understand how our thoughts and feelings are shaping things, and then make conscious choices about how we want to shape our reality.
That makes me think about mental enzymes, those solidified feelings that are like blueprints for physical matter. If we could work with them consciously, could we really, manifest things, make our desires reality?
Seth really goes into that. He suggests we're always creating reality. Whether we realize it or not, the key is becoming more aware of it, and then getting our thoughts and feelings and actions aligned with what we truly want.
Conscious creation, it's exciting, but it can also be kind of overwhelming. Where do we even start? How do we harness that power and create something good?
It starts with noticing. Pay attention to your thoughts. Your feelings. How do they affect your experiences? How you interact with the world? Are you stuck in fear and lack? Or are you cultivating joy and abundance and possibility?
So just changing our focus from negative to positive can really make a difference.
It really can. Your thoughts and feelings are like magnets. They attract experiences that match their energy. By focusing on what you want, what feels good, you're actually inviting those experiences into your life.
That makes sense with what Seth says about inner senses. By paying attention to those subtle feelings, our intuition, those flashes of insight, we can start to see what really resonates with us, with our true desires.
Right. Your inner senses are your guide. They lead you towards what's in line with your soul's purpose. Trust those gut feelings, those moments of knowing. They're the keys to unlocking your full creative potential.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. We're capable of way more than we think. We're not just watching the world go by, we're creating it. What final thought would you leave our listener with as they continue exploring the Seth material?
I would say if anything was possible, what would your ideal reality look like? What kind of world would you create? Start by imagining it. Feel how vibrant and exciting it is. And then ask yourself, what can I do today? What thoughts and feelings can I embody to bring that vision to life? Don't forget, the power to create your reality is within you.
That's such a powerful message to end on. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, from the limitations of our senses to the power of our thoughts and emotions, and the interconnectedness of everything. But this exploration doesn't end here. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep creating the reality you desire. And until next time, happy reading.